Hey Capricorns, it is your Oracle Medicine here today, ready to give you the word of the divine in the most benevolent way for the week of January 29th to February 4th, 2017. And today we're starting the week off. It looks like we're starting the week off with the Star card. The Star card, and it's kind of telling me that there's been some deep, dark roads there going on, and perhaps it's a time for you to be following your guiding light, and yet that energy seems blocked. Perhaps some of you aren't too settled into your intuitive side, preferring to be logical, preferring to be reasonable, preferring to have a cause and effect and be very much in your left brain. So in the beginning of this week, there's going to be that blockage of energy, if you will, because the beginning of the week is going to be more of a time where you probably need to be following your guiding light. You probably need to be following that guiding star. So this is the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, this is it's always darkest before the dawn. This is that light that's at the end of the tunnel. This is that dawn, if you will, or this is that star that is trying to lead you to the dawn. Where it's gotten dark, where it's gotten very dark, and the star is now trying to lead you to the dawn. And for some of you, it seems like we're not following it. Maybe some of you are unable to see it, but it's there. It's there. You have to open up your hearts and take deep breaths. Open up your hearts and minds to seeing what's there in front of you. That guiding light is there. It's something that feels very good. It's something that feels very like it lifts you up. The vibration just moves you. It lifts you up. Think about what that might be. If that is a who, if that is a what. Think about who that might be towards the beginning of the week for you, Capricorns. Because it seems like there's going to be some blocked energy in the beginning of the week. So this is just kind of a warning sign that's going on. And as we get towards the middle of the week, I got the King of Wands, in reverse. So sustained energy is the King of Wands. Maintaining their kingdom through sustained energy, having a sustained faith. And this King of Wands is in reverse, so that's saying that there is this lack of faith going on. There's this lack of belief within oneself. There is a lack of belief. There is a lack of faith that one needs to have to progress forward in their life. The King of Wands is like out of energy, out of fuel. You know, that's out of fuel, out of energy, out of gas, you know, just lacking vitality and needing to gain that vitality back. So ask yourselves, are you lacking in vitality? Are you needing to gain some vitality back into your lives? For some of you Capricorns. For you other Capricorns, I wonder if this might mean someone in your life who is either, mainly if they're a sun sign and perhaps a fixed sign like a Leo, for example. Although this could be Aries and Sagittarius too. But a fire sign that is basically very seasoned. They're very mature. They're very experienced in their ways, in their energetic ways, and it seems like they are having a difficult time towards the middle of the week. it seems like that energy, whatever the case might be, the energy is lacking in fuel here, and one is unable to manage things. So think about things that you yourself should be managing. Think about things managing. I think about things being managed with this card. This is not a time when something new comes up, right? This is not a time when something new comes up. It's not a time when you're trying to grow something. This is something that is already is, you know, there, and it's already moving. It's just there's this lack of energy in actually managing it as we get towards the middle of the week. And that could also lend to the star card here. That could also lend to, I'm trying to create a story here. This inability to follow your guiding light could be leading you to having a lack of energy. Could be, you know, following your guiding light might have given you that extra boost of life force, of vitality that you needed. And so far, it's looking like because we didn't follow the guiding light, this energy is kind of kaput right now, if you will, for lack of better words. And then I also get the Page of Wands in reverse. So the Page of Wands speaks of a time where it's not a good time necessarily to travel. Perhaps traveling out, excuse the whole thing that's happening with the bouncing camera here. Perhaps traveling out is just kind of not in the best interest for you towards the middle of this week. Capricorns, if you are trying to travel out somewhere, consider perhaps rescheduling that. Consider perhaps doing it at a later time that's going to be actually more better for you and more successful for you. I'm not sure why the Page of Wands is coming up with that. I'm simply the messenger. This is what I'm seeing, is that the Page of Wands is saying it's not a great time for you to travel out right now. Kind of the message is just not a great time. With the Page of Wands for some of you in reverse, I wonder if this might also speak of someone who is new within their faith, within their energetic faith, and they're being very childish. And a Page of Wands is already a youth. They already have a youthfulness. They already have a childlike state within themselves. This is in reverse. So this is really, really double the childish. This is like really, really is truly childish and throwing temper tantrums and not getting their way and whining and crying and screaming and bullying, and these are all of those. I'm not saying that for each of you that's all that's happening for each of you, but it could be something around those lines for each of you with this coming up. So the King of Wands here and the Page of Wands, very interesting that they both came out, and they both came out in reverse, because the King of Wands can also be very much a bossy bully, someone who on the reverse side, if they don't get their way, they can get very angry, and they can get very, very, very rude, and because fire signs often, they pull attention. That's what they do. So if they're not pulling focus in a good way, they're going to pull focus some way, because that's what their energy is. They pull focus. So what does that mean? Fire signs are like the light that moths keep coming around all the time. So when they naturally are that way, right? They're naturally that way. Even on a good day, that's what they do. They naturally attract people. You get this in reverse, and you get the same thing, except they're just doing it in negative ways. These people are being really bossy, being really self-absorbed. they're getting the attention, you know, they're just not getting necessarily attention that they actually need or want, because they're not handling it in a good way. And some of them might not even be getting attention at all. You know, sometimes they might even be getting attention at all. And that's what's causing all the ruckus and madness to happen, is that they're just not getting any kind of attention at all. But I would watch out with the King of Wands here, because this is someone that's seasoned and they kind of know what to say and what to do in order to get their way, even when they are angry and being self-absorbed. So I would definitely watch out for that. They're going to put a lot of energy into it, a lot of passion and desire into getting whatever it is that they want, that they feel like they're lacking in their life. So I might watch out for that for some of you. And with the Page of Wands, they're not going to be as threatening. I don't mean to say it in that bad way, but they're just not going to be as bad. I mean, if anything, they'll drive you nuts, right? And so if you got a child right now that's a fire sign, or it's got fire, moon, rising, this person is probably going to drive you nuts. You know, they're probably going to drive you off the wall, because they're not getting their way, and so they're throwing temper tantrums and yelling and screaming. And are you having to put them in the corner all the time? Are they not staying there because they can't sit? They just got to keep moving. So this is kind of what's going on with me. This is kind of what I'm seeing with the Page of Wands here. You know, kind of the message across is for me, it's just not a good time. It's just there's a lack of energy, and it's just not a good time to. Perhaps there's some blocked energy there. Just not a good time to really like put your mind and focus into, and your focuses into a project. You know, this is kind of like a lacking of energy. You know, and it's probably just not a good time to travel out. That's what I keep getting. It's just not a good time to travel out. And then I get the Eight of Cups in reverse. So with the Eight of Cups in reverse, what I'm seeing is someone who you probably were leaving all your dreams, all the dreams and wishes and hopes that you had behind, and looking elsewhere to new dreams and hopes and wishes. But then that was a dead end. And now it's like you're looking back and there just are no dreams or hopes, or dead. There's just nothing there now. You know, this is someone that probably just gave up their dreams and hopes and wishes. And, you know, they kind of went and did something that they regretted doing, or that they don't want to do, they don't really like to do, you know, because they just don't believe that they can do what they really want to do, what they really like to do. They just don't really believe that it's possible. You know, it's kind of like this person has gotten so depressed. I would worry about someone being very depressed. If it's not you, someone close to you, but someone being very depressed right now and feeling very hopeless and feeling very much like there's nothing there, you know, like they got nothing to look forward to, they got nothing to go back to. All they can go back to are things that don't make them happy, that don't really move them forward in their soul process and their soul journey. It's not doing them any good, and they traded in their dreams, traded them in, if you will. You know, they gave up on them and traded them in, and you know, and for something, you know, this could be the kind of person that might have left their dream career so that they can go take care of family. They might have left it for a partner who didn't like them living their dreams, and so they sacrificed this to make their partner happy. And you know, I mean, come to find out that the partner is still not happy even afterwards. And not only that, but most importantly, they are not happy from it, regardless of whether the other partner is happy or not. They're not truly happy from this. They're not truly happy from it, and it's causing a lot of misery in their life. So I would say that's kind of what's going on towards the end of the week for you Capricorns. Shaman of Sorrows. Shaman of Sorrows. This is a really interesting spirit that's come to the forefront to work with you, Capricorns. Shaman of Sorrows. I hope you don't mind. I'm actually going to read over what the Shaman of Sorrows has to say to you, Capricorns. I just love when we get to work with these. I love seeing what the spirits are. I love seeing what comes out. I'm going to read this to you, for you, and I hope that this medicine helps you out. It says, I am the Shaman of Sorrows. I speak to you from a place of peace, hope, and transformation. I journey into the heart of pain and find ways to restore you to a state of balance in which sorrows no longer hold sway in your life. I walk before you upon any path you choose to take, protecting you from the burdens of unhappiness. I show you how life turns again and again from one state to another, so that even sorrow knows its contrary face, which is joy. I love that. The Shaman of Sorrow says we cannot live without encountering sorrow. It can weigh heavily upon us, preventing us from moving forward, holding us in the grip of doubt or even despair. The Shaman of Sorrows helps us to deal with all occasions when our hearts are heavy, whether from past or present troubles. If we are to survive, we have to face up to our discomforts and reconcile ourselves to their causes, so these things no longer have power over us. This shaman's task is to walk by our side in troubled times, helping us to find practical ways to accept and deal with whatever it is that has brought us sorrow. Some interpretations there can include restoration of hope, finding balance, acceptance, acknowledging the place of sorrow in life, hopeful memory, transcending sorrowful thoughts, resignation, and mourning. I'd say that's a very accurate spirit to come out to the forefront to work with you this week, Capricorns. The Shaman of Sorrows is about that time where, it's the message across really here is that one must experience sorrow to experience joy. One must experience tension to experience harmony. You can't have one without the other. And let me tell you why, because if you never have any kind of tension and sorrow in your life, if you never have any kind of downtimes, how would you be able to define better what the good times look like? Have you ever seen them people on TV who they come from rich parents and rich neighborhoods, and they are, heirs and heiresses to a business, and they've never had to wash dishes or clean clothes or anything like that, and then all of a sudden one day their rich parents throws them out onto the curb and tell them they gotta do what they gotta do, and now all of a sudden they have to start learning how to clean up. It happens on all levels of life. If those parents did not throw them out on the curb, or I don't want to say throw them out on the curb, but that's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. If those parents didn't, cut them off, and tell them that they had to go be responsible for themselves, they'd have still been there. And think about how much they did not know about, simple living. Washing dishes, washing your own clothes, cooking your own food. They had no clue how to do that, right? Because they never had to. Because they just never had to do it. Don't you appreciate being able to say, I can cook my own food, or I know how to iron my clothes, or I know how to wash my dishes or wash my clothes, I know how to take care of my car, I know how to water my plants. Don't you appreciate being able to say that these things in your life are beautiful because you know how to do them? Think about where those skills came from, right? Think about that. What motivated you in the first place to learn how to do those things? Was it your parents who was lighting the fire under your butt so that you would make sure you do it? Did you find yourself in a situation where it was like you really were wishing you knew how to garden? Did you find yourself in a situation where you wanted to appreciate better your vehicles and taking good care of them, and your clothes and taking good care of them? It came from somewhere. It came from some sort of tension there, some sort of discomfort, some sort of something that made you say, I don't like this way, I want it this way. But first you had to experience the downside of that to see the good side of that. Yes, there are people out there who perhaps that's just the way that they grew up and this was just habit for them. You know, and that is very important too. And think about where that habit came from. That habit didn't necessarily come from everything being in peaceful and harmony either. The parents before you could have had tensions that decided that this is how they wanted to grow up. But either way, the tension was there. And it caused one to decide, this is how I want to have peace and harmony and joy today. So I'd like to leave that with you. I hope that this negative information is perhaps medicine for you, my lovely Capricorns, because you deserve to have that medicine. You deserve to have those down times so that you can better appreciate and explore those good times. We all deserve that. That's the ebb and flow of life. We deny ourselves and we just think that we're just supposed to be happy-go-lucky all the time. That's just not reality. Reality is we have down times and we have up times. And those down times teach us what we need to learn so that we can better sustain the up times. And you Capricorns are just so earthly and practical and pragmatic, and you know, you've got this. You guys know, you guys know how to come back from this sort of thing. You know, and you know, sometimes and sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean that we're perfect, right? No one is perfect, right? Sometimes things just happen. Even to the best of us, who have all the answers, who have all our ducks in a row, things just happen. So, I invite you to work with the Shaman of Sorrows over this next week. If you're seeing this today, Thursday, Friday, the day, these few days that I'm posting this, the actual week before, the week of that it's happening, even if you're seeing it towards the middle of the week or towards the end of the week, at whatever time that you're joining us in circle, if you worked with the Shaman of Sorrows, journeyed to them, meditated on them, thought about them, even when you're washing dishes, even when you're taking care of your car, if you're at work and you're in the middle of something, taking just 1 minute to just think about the Shaman of Sorrows and what that means, you know, it could help. And I would definitely love to know how that might help, and if there is any feedback you might have, because this is definitely something that I myself am exploring, and I would love to know for future, you know. And I am setting up a website here pretty soon, actually, where I'm going to be doing a forum for all of my people who follow the tarot here, these readings here. And it's going to basically be a safe space, a forum where like week to week, each sign, you know, each spirit that you get to work with, you know, kind of like the overview of what's going on. And it's going to be a place where you can just kind of go and have discussion on the spirits that you work with throughout the week, or how these messages may have played out in your personal life. I truly would love to know. I feel like it's just such great medicine to share with others when one can share their experiences or one can gain experiences from. So that's the divine, that's the word. You don't have to participate in that, by the way. I'm just throwing it out there. You don't have to. You can if you want. You don't have to. It's entirely up to you. And either way, I hope to see you next reading. Aha.